Broncos veterans reported to training camp today, and two familiar faces who recently got in trouble with the law were back in the building.
To have this expansion is a dream beyond anything I ever dreamt of.
As the state celebrates its 150th birthday, a spotlight on historic spaces in underrepresented communities.
Jeffco Public Schools is suing over a threat to cut federal funding.
We all just kind of stood around and talked. It was like, oh, well, there's a river now, I can't cross it.
But first, from one extreme to another, storms bring flooding to the scene of Colorado's worst recent fire. Oh man, that's a walloping. Hailstorm hit Lyons and other parts of Boulder County today, just the start of what's been a chippy day for weather across Colorado. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Kyle Clark.
I'm Kim Christensen. Much of the focus at this hour is on the Aspen Acres burn scar in southern Colorado. Earlier today, the National Weather Service issued a flash flood emergency, the first anywhere in Colorado since last August. It expired within the last hour, but not before water rushed through, bringing down trees and other debris with it. That caused problems on several roads. The Custer County Sheriff's Office says CDOT used snow plows to help keep the highways clear. We talked with a man tonight who was going to his family's home in Beulah when he witnessed the flooding firsthand.
Turn the corner, come down, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we have a river across the road. It wasn't like a slow thing. It was like we were normal 1 minute, and then the next minute it was like, oh, it's coming down hard.
The people in charge of the operations on the Aspen Acres fire tell us firefighters moved to safer spots once the storms rolled in. They got out of steep areas where debris could flow and went to sturdier spots. Fire officials say the rain should help with the firefight, but acknowledge it does present other challenges. 9 News Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin is with us now. Kathy, you've warned of this, of course. The threat of flooding will return tomorrow.
And Kim, most likely in those same areas on those saturated soils where the roads have been washed out. There's still the chance of a brief shower in Denver tonight. We're enjoying a cooler afternoon and evening, but severe weather continues across eastern Colorado. Slow moving storms that have dropped 1 to 2 inches of rain. Oh, all the way from Monument to Blackhawk to Longmont and down to Elizabeth. And it's still raining on the radar tonight. Heavier bands pushing into southeastern Colorado. And we've been kind of tracking a few showers coming off the foothills that have fallen apart, but a flash flood warning remains in effect for Logan County in and around Sterling and the Pawnee Pass area. 1 to 3 inches of rain from a storm that is tracking southeast, and this is where we're seeing heavy flooding rain, rainfall rates of 1 to 3 inches an hour. So some of these county roads and irrigation ditches could be washed out or run real high. So be careful driving out there late tonight or tomorrow. The flash flood warning is canceled out for the Aspen Acres burn scar for now, but there's already more moisture coming in. Check out the rainfall today. The blue areas are where we saw 1 to 2 inches of rain, but where you see the purple sections, that's up to 3 inches of rain. And we had hail too, 3/4 to 1 inch diameter hail coming with these storms off the foothills out onto the eastern plains. We're all set to do this again tomorrow with another flood watch in effect. I'll have all those details with the timing and impact coming up.
The U.S. Department of Education is threatening to pull federal funding from Jeffco Public Schools over its policies on transgender students. But to comply with the Fed's demands, the district says it would have to violate state law.
So tonight, the district filed a lawsuit asking a judge to decide which law it will break. 9 News reporter Spencer Soysher joins us with more on this lawsuit. And Spencer, this has been a months-long back and forth.
Yeah, and the district is asking a court to rule on if it can keep the more than $50 million it gets each year in federal funding while still following Colorado law. Back in March, the Department of Education accused Jeffco of violating Title IX and threatened to pull funding unless the district changed how it treats transgender students. The federal government said it found 61 boys on Jeffco girls' sports rosters and pressured the district to sign an agreement. But Jeffco says it couldn't sign because that finding was wrong. The lawsuit says the district told the feds it actually had 0 boys competing on girls' teams and that the government misread the rosters, which included mascots, trainers, and managers of the opposite sex. The lawsuit shows Jeffco was willing to meet the feds partway, agreeing to post Title IX complaint procedures and run staff training, but it wouldn't agree to issue apology letters to female athletes or adopt the administration's definitions of sex and gender. Today's lawsuit argues the Trump administration skipped the legally required rulemaking process and is violating the Constitution. Now it wants a judge to rule on which law Jeffco has to break. I reached out to the U.S. Department of Education tonight for their side of this. We didn't hear back. Spencer Soysher, 9 News.
A woman who was arrested by ICE as she was trying to board a flight at DIA last week could soon be released. An immigration judge just granted her bond. Chantal Alejandra Morales Rojas was taken into custody July 20th. A GoFundMe set up on her behalf so she has a work permit with a pending asylum case. ICE says she's in the country on an expired visa. Judge set her bond at $3,000.
It's been a month since a tuberculosis case was reported at the ICE detention center in Aurora, and public health investigators say they're still locked out of by immigration agents.
People were exposed, and so we don't know how many people, and so that's the problem. I think it's particularly in close quarters. It is highly infectious. It is difficult. It's not easy to treat.
Last night's Aurora City Council study session made it clear not even the people who run the city know what's happening inside the facility. While ICE maintains there's only been one confirmed case of TB and that person was treated and deported, rumors are spreading even at public city council meetings.
I heard there were 12 cases. So it does appear that from that first case that it has not surprisingly spread.
That has not been proven, and public health officials have not determined the scope of any potential spread. But Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman is now threatening legal action against the facility if they don't let public health officials inside. The city just approved 2 new ordinances that would require periodic inspections of facilities and mandatory reporting of disease outbreaks. But those laws aren't retroactive. Adams County Public Health still says they do not have the information or access to complete their public health investigation of what's happening inside. We reached out to GEO to ask if they will comply with Aurora's request. They sent us a 1-sentence response referring us to ICE, who did not respond to our questions.
Victor Marx, Colorado's Republican gubernatorial candidate, says he hunts for demons and forces them to detach from people using a specialized prayer that he markets through his ministry. While Marx insists that he is not an exorcist, that practice is clearly at the center of his multi-million-dollar operation.
That's a demon, and on the authority of Jesus Christ, you come forth, and instantly, boom, black eyes.
Marx pitches his demon-slaying prayer, the quote-unquote secret sauce of his ministry, as being effective against everything from a lack of self-confidence to adultery to homosexuality, even murder. A mix of self-help and supernatural warfare.
This is how I explain it to women. I go, ladies, you get out of the shower, you're getting ready. You're looking in the mirror, you know, it's just you. Do you ever hear these thoughts? You're ugly, you're disgusting, you will never. That's how you start to go, my gosh, maybe that is demonic. And it is. But there's a way to battle, have victory, and I've seen it. I've seen it from addictions to homosexual lifestyle to cheating to murder. The whole 9 yards, people get set free from it all.
Marx says he never charges for the prayer itself, only the films, courses, and other materials he markets on spiritual warfare. Marx has acknowledged that Christian pastors are among his biggest critics and that other Christian leaders have called his work an unbiblical ritual, and that what he refers to as his non-traditional means of prayer has cost him speaking gigs at churches and conferences. The origin of Victor Marx's demon deliverance ministry appears to have been about 20 years ago, when he says he was doing a Bible study at a youth correctional facility in Texas, when he directed guards to place him alone in a cell with a 15-year-old girl who he says was in the grips of the devil. It was not the last time that Marx says he performed the ritual on a child. Marx's campaign did not respond to our specific questions about that encounter with the 15-year-old girl. Should mention, full transparency, when I visited Marx's training compound for an interview earlier this year, his team offered to perform the demon hunting prayer on me. I declined.
The death of a man found inside a bridge in Adams County doesn't appear suspicious. The sheriff's office made the announcement today. Firefighters found the remains while searching inside the 70th Avenue overpass over the weekend. After the discovery, they used a drone to safely search inside that bridge. Footage from that drone, obtained exclusively by 9 News Investigates, provides a never-before-seen view of a bridge that, like many others in the metro area, the roadway above supported by a boxed-in steel structure. Through our reporting, 9 News Investigates learned people have been calling these bridges home. for years.
It's dark and quiet for the most part. He's watching TV, playing video games, running a fan, and he's got like a little igloo ice chest that you can plug in.
Our Investigates team is still working to find out how prevalent these types of encampments are. This afternoon, we stopped by a different bridge where there are clear signs people had been inside the overpass.
Nearly 2 decades after a woman was found dead in a remote canyon in Boulder County, the man accused in her death has pleaded guilty. Today, John Angerer entered a plea for criminally negligent homicide in the death of Angela Wilds. Her body was discovered in South St. Vrain Canyon in 2006. Angerer was first arrested in 2010, but the case was dismissed for lack of probable cause. Investigators later developed new evidence, led to a grand jury indictment in 2023. But 2 trials ended in hung juries. Facing the prospect of a 3rd trial, he agreed to the plea. The 57-year-old got 3 years in prison with credit for time served.
A police officer given a second chance after joking in a group chat about shooting migrants for target practice is now under investigation at his new department. DPD fired Rodrigo Bursuto in 2024 for his comments. Sheridan Police hired him last year. The chief there explained the decision to the state by writing, quote, Bursuto paid dearly for his mistake by losing his career with the DPD and tarnishing his otherwise stellar reputation. He is now under investigation in Sheridan. In response to a public record request, the department wrote Bursuto has an open and ongoing internal investigation. They would not provide any records while the case remains open. We also requested an interview with the Sheridan police chief. He sent us back a statement saying, in part, second chances come with greater expectations.
A teenager in Boulder is suing 2 police officers after he says they mistook him for a bank robbery suspect. Leo Wise was 17 years old when Boulder police detained him as they searched for a robber last year. Wise says he was tackled off his bike and put in handcuffs. He claims the officers acknowledged that he wasn't their guy, but they continued questioning him anyway.
I remember them saying that I pretty much exactly matched his description, which I later learned was pretty far from the truth.
The department did conduct an internal investigation, found that one sergeant should have released Wise after officers realized he wasn't the suspect. The other officer was cleared. Both still work for Boulder Police.